The floor is open for questions.
Guys, unmute yourself and ask a question if you have a question. There's no bad questions, please.
You can answer, Prashant.
Chris, yes.
I know you said you're going to have a lot of questions, so let's go.
Not a lot, not a lot. Just one or two questions. That was it for now.
Okay.
My one was, well, okay, firstly, I just got a question on the presentation that's supposed to be done with the report. Is it?
Okay, what you do is,
yeah, what
the guys do is they tend to make it very long. So keep it to 15 minutes. And you don't need to run through every outcome. You can take, for instance, your latest project that you've done, and you can say it does all the 11 outcomes, and you can highlight what you want to talk about.
Okay. So like my main report, well, the main part of the report is about the specific project which I've chosen, which covers most of the outcomes. So I could run through that more in depth than what I've gone through.
Yes, you can put in photos and make it more, friendly. Because basically what is that 15 minutes of presentation, it's also, we don't then, if you do it very well, and that I tell the guys, we don't go and look at there to see how you've written the report, and that presentation will actually cut that out.
Is it?
Yes, because then you can see you've done a presentation, you know what you're talking about.
Okay. Okay. So the presentation will get done first before they run through the report.
Tell what you're doing. Yeah. Another thing too is the common mistake a lot of people do is if they're doing a project on their report and it might be 6 months ago or a year ago, they tend to go to that, but they've got another project they've done now, which will cover all those outcomes. You can talk about that project too.
Okay. Okay. So you
don't need to sit with that whole project. If you know that project is going to give you better outcomes and you've got more experience, especially with the social and that, people have a problem with that. They don't seem to understand what social and cultural is there, and the environmental and the legal side.
Yes.
But if you see that and you do your project and you say, no, but I've done this project, you just say, my report we did about 6 months ago, that time the project, but I'm doing now a current project, which I've now completed or while we're still busy with, and it covers all the outcomes. I would like to use that, you're allowed to. So your report isn't cast in stone on that project.
Okay. Okay. That helps.
Because a lot of the candidates make that mistake.
Yes.
I hope it clears up some issues for you guys there.
No, it does. And then my next question was on, I know on each TR report, you state how many weeks you spent on that project specifically. Now, projects that overlap, do you then separate the weeks and say, okay, you know what, even though they were overlapping,
no,
just count it as once, as in, okay, that stopped and then the next period started.
Careful.
Okay.
Yes, what you do is you say, this project I was running there, but I was also doing this other project. It was overlapping.
Okay.
You must state that, because otherwise it looks like you're doing 10 projects, on one there, and it's very difficult for us to there. You just say, listen here, this is what my purpose was. I was doing this project. That was my responsibilities. And you state your responsibilities. And you say, on this project, I had these responsibilities. There was an overlap of time, which is fine. But you must note it for, you tell the assessors in your report.
Okay.
Because you don't, because I had a case the other day.
Yeah, you can't count the weeks more, because then it's more than your actual years of actual working.
Yes. So you say, listen, yeah, on this project, I worked 5 weeks into, I was working on this project, I was working on that project. This one I was part-time, that one was part-time. This was the weeks, but strictly speaking, I was working this total of these weeks.
Okay, okay.
So don't make sure, because don't make, like I had a candidate now, he worked on application. He worked 2 years on a project, but he worked for 3 different employers. So that, of course, alarm bells are ringing
Sure.
for the same period.
Yeah, that doesn't work as well.
No, because he said he was employed by those people and that period by 3 different companies at the same period. So please check your reports, make sure that it's correct.
The timeline.
Because remember, you fill in a form to say that you, by commission of oath, that everything you've written is true and that.
It's true. Yeah. Okay. That was
anything else there?
For now, I think I'm good for now.
Chris, can I comment?
Thank you very much.
Yes, you can comment, Johan.
You know, if you fill in these reports, you must make sure that you write the stuff as it is, because the assessors only have the report what they have in front of them. They don't know you. They can only read there. So unless you write it clearly and it's clear exactly how you did it, and you can very easily garble what you're trying to write, because you know what you want to say, but you're not saying what you want to say. Make sure that you look at your report, read your report from the standpoint of the person who's not involved in this and is only seeing this for the first time. So make sure that you say what you mean and mean what you say.
Yeah, I see with the word count, it forces you to actually get down to the point.
Listen,
and then
let me tell you one thing.
The item.
Can I just come in? They say 200 or 100 words, but if you go over that, we're not going to penalize you. It's not exams.
Is it?
Yeah, but if it's
I was told you could
don't go and sit there 500 or 1,000 words on every section. It's going to kill us. We haven't got. It's not so that we haven't got the time, but you be precise to the point. That's what we also want to see. Yes. That's why they limited it to those word count. Sometimes you go over it, it's not a problem.
Okay, that helps, because sometimes getting the point needs a bit more space at least, or explanation at least.
Yeah, but you don't want to go too far over.
No, but 10% maybe, or 20% max.
Yeah, you can sometimes you can push it to 200 words, but then if it is well put out, the guys will understand it. The assessors do understand that, because I know it says only 100 words or 50 words or some sections like that. But use those also as a guideline. And when answering the outcomes, highlight your key words.
Okay.
Like confirm. If confirmed means, it means a yes or no. Not 200 words that you're writing there. You understand what I'm saying?
No, 100%.
Those are keywords you highlight. And another thing too is, don't rush your report to finish it. It's not a race. Remember, it's an advertisement you have to send out to us to say, listen here, I'm confident, I have done this, I feel I am ready. If you spend 2 hours on writing it, you're going to not go nowhere.
No, we spent a lot more hours than that.
I tell you, the minimum is 50 hours. I don't care what the people say. Why I say it's 50 hours, you write, you walk away, you come back and you say, this is not what I wanted to say.
Check and recheck again.
Yes, you read it and you put yourself in the shoes of the assessor. Does he understand what I'm saying here?
You must remember that report is like a picture of yourself. You must paint a very clear and a very concise picture. It must not be blurred. It's like any job you present to your boss. It gives a picture of you. And if you give your boss a rush job, then your boss gets this impression that you're a rush job guy. And you're not going to get promoted. You're going to get promoted to the back office, where you get all the menial tasks.
It's true. It shows if you rush something, there's normally a mistake somewhere or something overlooked sometimes.
Yeah. And please use the spell checker. We've got spell checkers now. It's not like in my time you had to type in. You didn't have spell checkers, and you sent
That's
it in
true.
with all the wrong words, and if everybody. And
Yeah,
I had to
that's
go
horrible.
for the interview, and
And the
then my
ticket.
interview was Johan. And did they grill me on my language
Benny.
too? So don't worry.
No, but we had to grill him on his language because his language was he spoke very goeie English, you know, Afrikaans English.
And I speak both tales very deliciously.
See that.
Who else
Oh, but
was on that?
perfect.
Who else was interviewing you at that time, Chris?
It was Des
Oh.
Lange, and it was Johan.
Thought it was
But I actually,
Yes, okay.
yes. And I was actually, I did the alternative route because I didn't have my BTEC yet. And then it takes a bit different there. They take you nicely on, but it's fine. It works.
I remember
What
that
I'm saying
interview.
is that it's good experience.
I remember
And
that
it's not-
interview well. It was in that little office as you came in on the corner, and you needed to be grilled because you didn't
They
come
cornered
across
you in the corner
exactly very well.
And I actually think the worst of all is I had to wait an hour and a half still before I could go in.
I think there
But
was
it's
another
not
guy.
that. What I'm saying
before
is,
you.
I don't know who it was there, but what I'm saying is, what happens is when you go into the interview, and I'm telling this to all the people today, when you go into the interview, I know you're nervous, but use it as if you're going to go and see, having tea time or lunch around a table with your colleagues, and they're talking to you and you explaining them about a problem in one of your designs or one of your projects you're doing. How do they go about it? When you explain it, they stop you and they ask you a question. Am I correct?
Yes.
And you explain.
Always.
This is the attitude you must go in for the interview.
Okay. More
You go in.
meeting and a chat.
Yes,
and
you go in with, you got your confidence, but you go in to say, listen here, this is my presentation. That's where the presentation comes in. And we ask questions about the presentation and we ask questions about your report.
Okay. No, that's fine. That's fair.
Okay,
Right.
and then the other thing too is what the guys, people make. I see nobody wants to actually ask questions, but under legal and regulatory requirements, please read it up, what is there, and make sure that you know. Because everybody just talks about health and safety. It's not just health and safety that you get in your projects. All projects have got a different standard, but you must also name a few of the others too. And that includes electrical, mechanical, I'm civil, but also with the chemical. Look up on what's the requirements. If you go to site, what are the requirements? There's forms, there's a big placard that you walk past every day and everybody doesn't look at it in your office. It has to be put up on the wall. If somebody can tell me what it is, I would like to know.
Yeah, hopefully someone can.
You walk past it every day, but nobody looks at it.
Yes, the big board.
Yes, it's a big placard that has to be put up there.
It has all the safety and regulations. Never mind safety, all the minimum requirements for the site.
No, not that one. I'm talking about just in normal office.
Oh, okay.
Think about it.
We'll have a look and go check with. Definitely.
It's your employment conditions.
Yes.
You all walk past it, but you don't read it. You only use it when you've got a problem with you have to go to CCMA. Then that's a.
Then you got
things that, yes, but I'm saying to everybody, look around you what is going on. Don't sit with blinkers, because you learn a lot even in your office, even in your site. Look at the other people, how they're running their people, how they're doing their projects, how they're communicating with people.
Yeah, that's true.
This
This is
if
where
your boss expects you to do some stuff that's not according to the health and safety regulations or the environmental regulations. What do you do if your boss expects you to do something there? It's unlawful.
No, you can't do that. It's unacceptable.
And then he
You've
fires
got
you.
to stop it there, get the right, yeah. Because if you go ahead with it, then you're in more problems than anybody else. And they look at you as the person that's
he
now
blames you.
implemented whatever you need to.
And he blames you.
Yeah, he blames you. He says, no, but you've done it. I didn't agree to this. It's your name on the page on the site. You've signed for it.
no.
So no, anything that's
Remember
not
one
outside
thing.
the scope is
Okay, but there's one thing that you do, hey.
yeah, you could bring in.
I don't know if you were there when I was talking about the mentoring, the mentorship and that, and your supervisor.
Yes.
If you're
Yes.
not registered, you cannot be held
responsible for it. Yes. Yes. He takes
Your
overall
supervisor still
responsibility.
remains responsible. But if you registered and you do it, you are held responsible.
You are held. Yes. No,
So
that's
just
correct.
remember the difference between the two there.
If your boss requires you to do something that you don't agree with, get it in writing. Get him to sign it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Date.
Or he must give the instruction via mail, and then you can carry it out as a second.
Yeah.
But it must
That's
come from
correct.
him.
You don't agree with it, but you'll do it if he gives you instructions.
Yeah.
You're not disobeying him. You're just requiring to please give you the instruction in writing because you don't agree with it.
And then
You
you've got to
just
pay the
answer
trail
and
for
you
it
say,
as well.
no, you just answer and say, I do not agree with it, but I will follow the instructions.
No, that's true.
That's what basically happens. Anybody else
No.
got any questions?
Perfect.
You're happy now?
Yes. Yes. No, thanks. Greatly appreciate it. If I've got more questions, I'm going to put it on the group as we go through as well.
No, you can
No,
talk
you're welcome.
now. You can talk
No.
now
This
because
is
other people don't want to talk now. They're a bit shy.
no. This is after this because I'm gonna go back to the report after this and start to check and see. But
Yes.
it doesn't always come to you immediately what you want to ask.
No, that's what we have the group for.
Jot them down. Yeah.
Yes.
It's what we
That's
have
why I
the
said I'll
group
put it
for.
on the group
To
as
ask
we
those
go.
questions.
Yeah.
Most
I'm
welcome.
grateful for it.
Anybody can ask a question.
Perfect.
You can, if your mate is not one of the group, you're welcome to ask a question for him.
Yeah.
That's what the group is there for.
That's what we do, yeah, in IPET, trying to help the people to get their registrations also. It's one of our missions, mission statements too.
Is it? Oh, that's good.
That is why we don't charge. We do it for free. Not like some of the other institutions and some of these other service providers that charge you an arm and a leg to
They do.
give you road
I've had
registration courses.
Yeah, I've had two guys approach me and said, no, we can have a look at your report and help you out. But of course, there's a fee attached to it. And we'll mark it up and see what you need to do for your report.
Be careful.
So that, of course, was already a warning sign to say, yeah, no, it's okay. I'll do this on my own.
You know what? Must I tell you one thing? Must I tell you one thing? And I've picked this up because I've done now a lot of assessments of reports that have been submitted. And I pick up the guys that have actually went to people to market for them. And it's been so changed to the point that person wasn't telling what he was.
Yeah.
And even on the assessment stage, they can actually fail.
That's true.
And I'm telling everybody now, put in what you know and what you have been doing, not somebody else. And please do not put it in the third person format. And do not use generic terms or write a generic, say, I did this and then this is how I did everything. As if it's done from a company side. Do it how you did it, because that's what we want to see. We want to see your knowledge. And remember, it's yourself, not we.
Yes.
It's me, myself, and I that is standing and doing the report, not me, we, the company.
No,
Say, I was delegated the full responsibility to do this. In other words,
That's
you
it.
delegated the responsibility, but the boss was still responsible. But the buck stopped with you. That's what we want to know.
Yeah.
So did you come right with your report, Prashant?
I'm almost there. I'm at the last part. I've done it previously, and then I realized things weren't exactly the way that we've discussed it here in the groups. That's why I said the group was great, because I've now realized that certain things were in the wrong format. So now I'm just rectifying everything, and then I need to just prepare the presentation, and I can more or less hand in. I want to try and still hand in this year. So at least beginning of next year, they can look at it and we can go forward. I can get the PR number, hopefully. So we're on the last stretch.
Or just give it in early in January once they started again. Otherwise, they lose this thing over Christmas.
I'd rather take it and read through it again and make sure it's fine.
Maybe I must do that, and then I'll hand in January.
You know, because now you're rushing, and when you're rushing, you tend to change.
I've been busy with the report for now almost 2.5 years, I think. So I've taken a long time, a bit longer than normal, but
at least you're going ahead. That's what the thing is.
Hopefully, we're now there at the end. I need to, because if I drag it out any longer, it's gonna now drag over to the next year.
Yeah, but you know, these guys that put in a report are exactly 3 years after they've qualified, after 3 years after their BTEC. The moment you see that report, you have question marks, because most of those guys are not at the level of responsibility yet.
That's true.
Exactly at 3 years.
Yeah.
You want the person
I'm probably
at the
at
right
about
level of responsibility. So in other words, rather take a year or two longer, but not be sent back.
No, that's true. I'm probably at about 10 years already, almost. So
no, that's fine.
Over already. Oh, yeah,
I'm not aiming at you. I'm aiming at
no. Yes, generally for everybody.
Giving a general comment.
Yes. Okay, Chris, thank you. I've got to quickly run. I've got something coming.
No, that's fine.
Unfortunately, but greatly appreciated. This was very helpful to all of you guys as well.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Thank you. We'll chat on the group.
Okay, that's fine. Thanks a lot, Prashant.
Thank you.
Okay, cheers.
Good day, gents. I got a question.
Who is it?
It's Matthew.
Matthew. Okay. All right, Bianca. Now we know it's Matthew.
Thank you, Chris. Tell me, can you only log experience after your BTEC qualification? I don't know. I've read somewhere.
No. Let me just stop that fallacy at all. You do it from where you started in your career. Why I say that is it's easier for us as assessors to see how you developed in your career. Matthew?
No, fantastic. Thank you very much, Chris. That's what I want to hear. It makes sense.
Because, it's very difficult for us to see. Because basically what happens is if you started, even they are technicians or, when they training technicians, they became experienced technicians. They already started, some of them have already started to go over to doing technologist work. Now you wait for your BTEC and then you only put your BTEC experience. It's very difficult for us to follow your career path. It doesn't matter even if you're putting in 20 jobs there on your period. It helps us to see how you developed in your career.
Thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate that.
Okay, it's a pleasure. Anybody else? Pretty? You've just started with your you just received your BTEC now.
Yes, I've just received my BTEC and I'm taking notes.
Are you taking notes? Hopefully you just remember one thing. What you must note there is you must go to the ECSA website and read their documents, that you can get yourself well versed with the technologists' documents, like the R02 and the R08, the RO3s there too, that you understand. And then you must also use the RO3 is the mentoring. No, not the mentoring. I think it is RO4, one of the mentoring ones. Also read there and see what you require and make a list of, and make sure that if you get somebody to do mentoring for you, that they are putting you in the correct position and giving you the correct standard
Okay,
of
all right.
training. Because it's actually very saddening to see somebody working 5, 6 years, even 10 years, and when they apply, they realize they haven't got to the standard that they should.
All right, I will put that into consideration. I will definitely read the documents.
They're just measuring my temperature. We do it here on site every, in the morning and then in the afternoon. It's for this COVID. So they're not stealing money from you, so please.
But Pretty, make sure that you keep a diary of all the jobs you do, so that because when you start filling in the forms, then you realize, but you did a job there, or you forget about some of the jobs you did. And sometimes one of those small jobs are just one of the critical ones that you've done where you can just prove one of the outcomes well. So keep a good diary, exactly what you've done, how much responsibility was delegated to you, all that kind of thing, so that when you start filling in the forms, you can actually start filling in the forms now and just put the stuff down as you go, so that in 3 years' time, when you want to apply, then then you're halfway there. Then you can just revise it, yeah, and make sure that you fulfill all the outcomes.
All right. I've noted that as well. Thank you so much.
Download those forms from the ECSA website, read them, make sure you understand them, and then in a couple of months' time, you read them again. And when you start filling in the forms, then you read them again, etc.
I've got a question, Mr. De Kock.
Okay, Matthew.
This, so myself being a lecturer or an academic, as they say, I've had a look at a few documents in terms of what experience, what consult as experience in academia. I'd like to ask from you guys, how do you guys assess a guy who's out in industry versus academia? Thank you. Oh, any tips? Sorry.
Chris, do you want to
Okay, the best person that can talk about that is Jones. He's got a method there. He's by TUT, Jones Molasani. I don't know if you know him, Matthew.
I'm not aware of him.
Matthew, you've got
I'll get his email. I will send it to you. I'll get you on to send it to you, Matthew.
Thank you very much.
I'll send you his email address. You can then ask him, because he is an academic. He is very involved in ECSA. He's on the new ECSA council again as well.
Okay.
As a matter of
Jones, who?
Jones
Molasani.
Jones Molasani. Got it. Thank you.
Yes. He is very well versed with that. He does help out there. And he has spoken right in the beginning. He spoke about how to get around that. Because I know it's very difficult for a lot of the academic guys. They want to register, but they don't know how to go about it. There is also on ECSA's website under documents also about the academics, how to register. I think go and look also at that, Matthew.
Yes, I've done it, Chris. Thanks. I just thought maybe someone who had experience, like exactly what to log. But I have a general idea. But thank you.
Yeah, speak to Jones Molasani. He will definitely help you, because he discussed it also the other day about the lecturers and the academic guys, how to get them registered. I know it's difficult. Sometimes you haven't got the full experience as what the guys have the privilege of working on site or in a design office and that.
Matthew, there's another lecturer at one of the other universities close to you that Prashant was referring to earlier, who will help you with greatest pleasure if you pay him. I'm not going to recommend you to him.
Okay, thank you, Mr. De Kock.
He used to be on the registration committee with me for many years.
Yeah. Jones does it for free also. He does it for the love
And
of
Jones
the
is also a
industry.
past president of IPET.
Yeah.
He's the immediate past president, actually. He was just before Chris.
No, I'm lucky I am the president. But it's fine. Pretty. I want to ask you, just give you advice there. That ECSA form, the TER form, or your training experience, your experience training report, please just, you can actually print those forms out. And if you finish one of your projects, you can fill it in and get your supervisor to sign it off, that you don't have to go and run around in the end when you want to register to try and get hold of them.
Okay, I was just on the ECSA website right now to try and download everything. So yeah, okay, I will definitely.
It's a TER form. You can take that form, print it out, and just keep it in mind. And when you do a project, or when you're working on a project and you finish the project, you fill it in and you get your supervisor to sign for you straight away. It doesn't matter even if it's 5, 10 years ago, but it's been signed. That's your record also. That helps a lot.
All right, all right. Thank you so much, noted.
You see, in
Okay,
a
it's a
year or
pleasure.
two's time, you might decide to change and you go and work for another firm. And then you go back to this guy who you work for now, that you find he's immigrated to Australia or Canada or somewhere, and you can't get hold of him. You can rather have too many forms and not submit all of them than have too few forms that are not signed.
Yeah, it really makes sense. It does make sense. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Anybody else?
Jerry,
Any
Martina,
questions?
Nolan, anybody?
Chris, one more question. I'm back still.
Yes,
So,
no, it's fine.
Right, yeah.
What would you recommend is the normal or the minimum amount of reports that you should have, the TR reports in there?
It doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter. I've had applicants that
be-
have already given me 25 TR reports.
Sure.
It's
That's
from
a lot.
the beginning of their career till
Mm.
the point of registration. And those, although it might sound a lot,
Yeah.
but it gave us a good idea. It gave me a good idea how the person developed in his career to the point where he is. Because what happens is sometimes you're writing, you're keeping away, and you say, you didn't do this. But then in the meantime, when you read the TR report, you read it with your engineering report, you read everything, even with your annexures and with your PCD, your PCD that you've written. You read everything combined, and it gives you a general idea of the person, that he's actually how his career path walked in life.
Yeah, as you go
And
through.
you can see, he might have not written very well in his engineering report, but his TR report is well written. You're right, it's well written. He did do this, so it's covered. And then you don't have to go for experiential interview, but it's already covered there, and we've picked it up, and you go for professional review.
Okay. And then handing in the document, I see there's a lot of pages in between in the entire report, which is notes and guidelines for the person. Can we take those out and just leave the important pages as need be, whatever we filled
No,
in?
you take those out.
That we can take out, eh?
Because those are the
I see there's a limit
guidelines.
of 50.
Except the referee reports, you must leave it together.
That stays in, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and please be careful who you use as a referee.
Okay.
Also, in the sense that sometimes a person, they should never make it personal, but I do get very, very personal.
As far as referees are concerned,
They write there and they say the person is not good in that, but the other two referees say they're fine. So then you have to make a call. So be careful of who's your referee. Preferably, it must be somebody. Try and get somebody that knows about your career path and that are for more than 3 years. of your knowledge.
You don't ask your biggest enemy to be your
It
referee.
helps a lot.
No, never.
And also, Chris, I don't know
Because I
whether it's still like
usually,
this,
if I get,
but when I was on the committee, we like to rather have a report from another PR tech, another technologist, than from an engineer, because an engineer has a different view of a technologist than a professional technologist. So in other words, we used to like to see a report from professional technologists, because we valued what they said more, because we know that this is a peer review. In other words, another technologist will judge you to be ready to register better than what a technician or an engineer or a certificated engineer would be able to, because this is peer review.
yeah. I find it's yes and no. I've had some technologists that they actually took on the person, which you could see it was very, what was very, very personal. And the person worked for this person for 5 years, and knows him for 5 years, and it said he knows nothing, while two professional engineers said he was very qualified. And the report that was written, the engineering report, was very well put out. Even the TRE, I mean the training reports, were very well. You could see the career path. What helped a lot was, and this is what I'm saying, is take it from your beginning of your career path to up to the point, because that gives us a good idea. If you just give 3 years or just 4 years of when you had your BTech, then it's very difficult to see. Because this person worked 5 years for this person, but he did in his training report, everything was well put out. And it was the same person who signed them off to say they were fine. So how does it work? You understand? So we have to play a lot of, have to do a lot of professional calls and, informed calls. So that's why I say it's better to have as much information as possible, especially with your training.
Yes.
That helps to tip the scales, because also you get a technician. If you do have a technician as a referee, you have to get somebody else also there. That person can be in a supervisory position, but then you have to have 4 persons to do there.
4 of them. Okay.
And please, one thing I'm asking you guys, we've got the ECSA website. The person who signs it, make sure he is still registered. His registration hasn't been cancelled. It's embarrassing for everyone, not for us, but for the candidate to find out, hey, this person has been cancelled, and I have to get somebody else as a referee.
Yeah.
So make sure your referee is registered. And if he's not registered, read the rules. They can do that, but then you have to add another person that is registered at ECSA as a referee.
Okay. No, perfect.
I know we're going a bit off what we were talking about, but also under social and cultural, please make sure that it is valid. It is to do with engineering activity, a broadly defined engineering activity. Do not talk about security guards that you fired because they were stealing stuff on site. That is not cultural. That's not social.
Yeah, that's got nothing to do with it.
So in your field, look what you do under social and what is under cultural. And it doesn't matter if you're mechanical, electrical, chemical, civil, what you were doing on your project, what was the cause of environmental pollution, and how did you stop that solution? How did you do it? Like if you got your HVAC fans are running there and it's blowing everybody out and the noise is so high, what did you do to show the negative effect? In engineer civil, you're building roads, all the dust that is there, how did you stop the dust? These are the things that we're talking about. In chemical, it is what did you do? If you had chemical spills, what did it cause environmental? How did you solve it? How did you stop it? Try and contain it. Electrical, what did you do? If you were digging trenches, how did you protect the trenches? How did you protect your cables? These are the things that you have to look at the environmental. Hopefully everybody understands what I'm saying on the negative.
Yes. All right.
And it's not very large you have to talk about. You can talk about another thing. If you never experience an environmental thing or a social or cultural, you can write there in your report, I've never had this experience, but my colleague, he had this experience. He explained to me, and this is the solution. That's fine. We accept that. Because it shows that you actually went out to find out. You understand that there is things that happens and how you listen. So please, all the people must understand. If you haven't had certain experiences, go and find out about it and you tell it there. If you haven't had project management experience or you didn't study it, go and read about it and apply it to your work. You will see, you'll be actually surprised how much project management you're actually doing at your house. Never mind at work too.
Yeah. You have to manage everything.
So if you don't know a subject, go and read about it.
So if you're on the railways and you've dealt with a derailment, then you know about environmental problems, as well as a few others, as well, like project management, how to manage such a project, how to manage a derailment, how to manage a washaway. Those are the things that those were big things we used to do on the railways.
Yeah, good.
Any other questions?
You know, even an open excavation, for instance, an open excavation, what do you do about it? How do you protect it?
Yeah, you saw
These
the
are the
news
things
last
that we
week
talk about.
that kids drowned in a trench that was left open and it was full of water. So, any case, any other questions? Because if we close now, it's next year. We're not going to have another one this year.
Next year we will do what do you call it, E and E together. So it will be quite interesting. E is more your CPD, so we won't discuss that much about there. But more DU is more is your not environment, your confirmation of you understand the ECSA rules and regulations, and then what did you experience any negative effects there, and how did you solve it? And then your responsibility, how did you not disperse, you know, how did you give to other people your discharge a bit of your responsibility to other people, and how did you interact with the different disciplines? So that will be in next year.
Okay, and we're arranging
sometime in January.
All these talks will be up on somewhere on the web. It might not be on the iPad website, but we will put the references, and we'll, once it's up, I'll put the notices on on LinkedIn, as well as on the group, on the WhatsApp group, where to find all these presentations, also the ones that you missed. But we'll probably repeat the ones that you missed last year, earlier this year. We'll probably repeat it next year.
Yeah. And remember, these are all for free. We don't charge a cent for them. They're there to help the technologists to get yourselves registered.
IPET at the end of the day is the family of engineering technologists. So
yeah.
And yeah, next week I'll put the notice on the web. Probably it might be Friday night, not this Friday night, next Friday night. It looks like we'll have the IPET Awards ceremony, where all the best top students at each University of Technology, each University of Technology, one lady, one guy, gets awarded a medal and a certificate as the top BTech academic achiever at each university, and then obviously the top countrywide as well. A top lady and a top guy. I know who it is already, but I'm not saying.
But just remember, it is for 2019 that awards. It's not this year. It's last year's. We usually
people who qualified
back because
people who qualified in 2019, in other words, up to the end of 2019. In other words, who graduated this year and maybe halfway through last year, the ones that has 2 graduations still and all that. So, but look out for it on the website and on the WhatsApp group. And you're most welcome to join, even if you, just to see what it looks like, even if you're not involved yourself or it's not a friend of yours or so. If it's a friend of yours, please join and support them. You will know who's been nominated. Maybe I should put that on the group, Chris.
yes, no, you can. Yes,
I can do that.
And Pretty, are you nominated?
No, she's just got her BTech now.
Oh, about that.
Oh, did you get a distinction in all of your subjects?
I only got 1 distinction. Yeah.
Yeah, the minimum requirement is a distinction average, huh?
Okay.
For nomination,
it's an average distinction.
The top achiever at any university, but at least be a distinction average. So we award the absolute top achievers countrywide. Okay, guys, thanks a lot. I wish you all a very happy Christmas, a very happy time of rest. And yeah, I hope you all keep safe but enjoy a pleasant time with your family and friends, and hope to see you all next year again. Thank you very much. Chris.
And from my side, as president of IPET, I wish you all a Merry Christmas, a prosperous New Year. Hopefully this New Year will be better than the year that we went through, which is a bit of a tough one. And when you drive, I'm going to go around. I don't know how many people are going to go on holiday. Those that are going on holiday and they're on the roads, drive safely and keep well, and God bless. And thank you, and see you people all in the new year.
Thank you, Chris. Chris, thanks for all the work you've put into these presentations. We really appreciate it. And yeah, let's see. I hope it really had a lot of value for a lot of people. Any comments from anybody else before we switch off?
Okay.
Yes, I'd like to thank you, Chris and Mr. De Kock.
Okay.
I really appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time to educate us.
Fine.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Matthew. Keep well, then.
We want you back in IPET's. What's the name there? Please. You need to sort your things out there.
Yeah, no, I'm hitting the end. I'm just not, the fatigue is hitting me, but I have to push through.
Oh, good. I hope your students don't give you too much nonsense.
Oh, thank you, Mr. De Kock. No, they're not. They're not. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Keep well.
Yeah, guys, I'm switching
Thanks
off.
a lot, Johan. Keep well, and thanks for organizing everything.
A pleasure.
Cheers.
Right.
Bye.
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 Okay.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Okay, Chris, ek sit af hoor.
Ja, nee, ek sal gou met jou praat op die foon nou.